Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the first time, Americans who rely on Medicare will enjoy lower prices for their prescription drugs, thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act that Democrats passed last Congress. Finally, 20 years after Part D was passed, we put people over to politics and empowered HHS to negotiate lower costs for life-saving drugs, ensuring that older Americans will enjoy lower prices and peace of mind. Already, many Americans are enjoying the $35 per month cap on insulin and no-cost vaccines pursuant to the Inflation Reduction Act. That has translated into a savings of about $440 annually for thousands of my neighbors in the Tampa Bay area. And starting in 2025, no senior will pay more than $2,000 in out-of-pocket cost annually for their prescriptions. So when fair and negotiated prices for the highest cost drugs are finalized in coming years, seniors will enjoy even more money back into their pockets. Mr. Chairman, the Department of Defense negotiates drug prices. The Veterans Administration negotiates drug prices. Now HHS will negotiate fair and reasonable prices according to the detailed process established by Congress that is similar to the way that HHS negotiates for every other product and service that Medicare pays for. Lifting the bar negotiation was long overdue. After all, Americans pay more for prescription drugs than citizens of other countries. Why? Because other countries negotiate fair prices and they consider the clinical benefits and the effectiveness of prescription drugs. Americans deserve the same. Big Pharma outlandishly claims that the Constitution gives them the right to charge out-of-control, take-it-or-leave-it prices on prescription drugs. That is absurd. There is no constitutional right for drug companies to dictate the price of life-saving drugs to American taxpayers, especially when participation by drug companies in the negotiation is voluntary. For decades, Big Pharma has peddled the canard that exorbitantly high prices are necessary to support research and development. But the truth is that soaring profits, huge marketing budgets, and generous shareholder returns far exceed what the pharmaceutical companies invest in R&D. From 2019 to 2021, the 5 biggest pharmaceutical companies spent $13 billion more on giveaways to shareholders than they did on R&D. And the industry spent $8 billion on direct-to-consumer advertising last year alone. While 1 in 4 Americans report that they struggled to pay for their prescriptions, each of the 15 highest paid pharma CEOs made over $15 million in base salary, bonuses, and stock options in 2021. So the pharmaceutical giants don't like the change that's coming to their bottom lines. They're fighting in courts across the country to stop the savings for everyday Americans, even as their CEOs rake in millions of dollars year after year. Furthermore, drugs will only be subject to negotiations between 9 and 13 years after coming to market, giving manufacturers nearly a decade to recover their investments. And now Republicans in Congress are parroting industry talking points. But the nonpartisan CBO has debunked the claim that innovation will suffer, finding that the law's impact on the development of new drugs will be minimal, while the savings to taxpayers will be immense. Many analysts agree that the new structure provides an incentive to innovate. Now drug manufacturers need to make sure that their product offers real clinical benefits to justify their prices. At a time when MAGA Republicans are threatening a costly government shutdown, it's important to remind everyone that granting Medicare the authority to negotiate reasonable drug prices is fiscally responsible. Medicare negotiation is estimated to save $100 billion over 10 years, and these savings will allow Medicare to provide additional benefits to seniors and further reduce out-of-pocket costs. And if Republicans truly cared about innovation, they wouldn't be threatening to cut NIH's budget by as much as $2.8 billion next year. The majority has titled this hearing, "At What Cost?" I have to reflect upon the time Medicare Part D was passed. in 2003 when you barred HHS from negotiating prices. Many people, including myself, were appalled that the lead negotiator in Congress left to become the president of Big Pharma at a salary of millions of dollars. It stunk to high heaven and is one of the reasons I ran for Congress. I urge my Republican colleagues not to throw a wrench into this critical reform. Our neighbors have waited too long enough for fair prices for important medications. I look forward to the debate on this issue, and the American people are depending on us to deliver for them. I yield back my time.